Chi cambia la vecchia per la nuova sa che lascia ma non sa che trova. It's an Italian expression that translates into something like the person or the people who leave the old ways for the new ways know what they're leaving behind, but they don't always know what they're getting into. So that's why in my videos I always try to combine some old world wisdom and experience with new world carry-on the traditions with scientific information. A couple of days ago I posted a video about bottling backyard tomatoes, and today's video is about the chemistry of the tomato. And the chemistry begins with Clostridium botulinum. I know I didn't pronounce that correctly, so I just try to remember it with claustrophobia beware. So this claustrophobia beware is a spore, and it grows on the skin of many fruits and vegetables, and definitely on a tomato. And the literature refers to it as Iron Man, but I think we could also call it Wonder Woman. It's almost impossible to kill, and the only way to do it, the only way to kill it, is with a pressure canner. And that's because when we use a pressure canner, the tomatoes inside a bottle or a jar reach a temperature of 240 degrees Fahrenheit, and that kills the spore. But claustrophobia beware. When we put the tomatoes in a jar and use a pressure canner, there isn't much oxygen in there, so it's possible for that spore to redevelop into a bacteria. So that's why some of the literature suggests also to add some lemon juice or vinegar or citric acid, and that's to increase the total acidity of the tomato. And because the literature assumes that all the tomatoes are low in total acidity and high in pH. And that's why I like to use early girls. I've tested them with my pH meter, with my total acidity kit, and I usually get a reading of 0.6 total acidity and 3.8 pH. And in that environment, it's difficult for a bacteria to develop. So, what did my grandparents and my parents do? What did the old timers do because they bottled lots and lots and lots of tomatoes? And they boiled, before they ate the tomatoes they jarred, they boiled them for at least 15 to 20 minutes. And that's what the literature says that we should do too. No matter how we bottle our tomatoes, we should boil them for 10 minutes below 1,000 feet altitude and add 1 minute for each 1,000 feet of altitude so we avoid botulism. And this is what I do. You can see my video to see how I bottle them. Then when I open a jar, I inspect it inside and out. I don't smell it and I don't taste it. If the tomatoes look the same way they look when I put them in there, I'm going to assume that there's no bacteria. But then I'm still going to cook them. I'm still going to boil them for at least 20 minutes before I eat them. Pomodori per tutti. Ciao ciao. Grazie per la tua compagnia.